I really love the water cooling system I designed for my latest computer, but now it's got me thinking about a new idea, something that's going to allow me to get even more creative with my next build. Let me give you some more context. Let's jump back a few weeks. I was right in the middle of my computer build and I had to hire a shop to help me machine the water distro plate for my cooling loop. It takes a CNC router to make these and I don't have one of those. So for 5 weeks, there was nothing I could do while I waited for my parts. And this got me thinking, what if I could make something like this myself? I have a laser cutter and a 3D printer, so I'm going to see if I can come up with my own solution using these. Covered this briefly in my last video, but the main purpose for a distro plate is to simplify tube routing for a water-cooled PC. Conventionally, they're made from 2 sheets of acrylic, with one getting routed to add liquid paths before the 2 are mounted together with an O-ring seal. You can integrate a pump right into this, and it can also act as your reservoir. 3D printing hasn't really been useful for stuff like this in the past, but what if we're just using it in the wrong way? When you put water through this, the first issue you'll probably experience is a leak between the acrylic and the printed part. You could try to mimic the existing distro and add a couple O-rings at the top and the bottom, and you might solve the leaking where the parts come together, but I'll never be confident about having a 3D printed part in direct contact with the liquid. As these parts are printed, they're being built up layer by layer, which is creating a lot of opportunities for there to be just a single gap. And that's all it will take for this to start to leak. So what if we combine the top and the bottom gasket into a single part like this? The 3D printed channel is now just acting as a form to hold everything in place, but it would be totally shielded from the water. And I think I can make this gasket out of silicone. I'll just have to 3D print a 2-part mold, which will help constrain the inside of the seal. And once it's cured, I'll remove the forms, and then I can laser cut some acrylic to mount on either side. The first step is a proof of concept, which takes us all the way back to where we started. I want to test how easy it is to make this seal, and I also want to see how much pressure it can withstand before it starts leaking. Inside of a computer cooling loop, you generally aren't seeing above 5 psi, so I'm going to have a lot of confidence if this assembly can handle 50, which is about the pressure of my home's water hose. I'm going to adapt through some 3/8 inch tubing, along with a 3D printed barb fitting to connect to the hose. And I didn't think that through very well. The barb fitting wasn't going to be able to handle that much pressure, and it blew off the hose as soon as I tried to close the valves on the proof of concept. So next I switched to a threaded connection and tested this separately before my next attempt. As always, I made sure to have a safety supervisor on site for all of this testing. So now that we know that the concept holds water, let's think about the next challenge. I'm going to figure out how a pump can integrate into this design. With the conventional distro, a recess is machined for the pump impeller, like this on the back of the plate. I came up with my own solution that's going to use a small adapter, and I'm going to build a second proof of concept to test this idea. Next up, I had an idea for simplifying the molding process. Instead of 3D printing these large parts that constrain the inside of the seal, I'm just going to use the same acrylic layers that will eventually seal the front and the back of the distro. And these are going to sandwich a much smaller form to create the inside of the seal. Not only does this save me a lot of 3D printing, but it also makes it possible for me to watch the silicone propagate through the mold. That's going to be helpful so I can make sure I don't have any bubbles. I still want a good compression seal on my silicone gasket, so I have these shims that will be in place for the molding process, and then I'm going to take them out in the final assembly. Overall, this worked really well, but you can see I haven't really perfected my strategy for removing the excess flashing. It's going to be best to cut this away before demolding the final seal. It makes it much easier to cut against a straight guide, and I'll learn this later on. I also tried reducing the size of the assembly on this latest iteration, and you can see the improvement here. But what if the 3D printed channel could be replaced by an acrylic part? You get a fully transparent assembly, and now that I'm using these molding shims, you can still get a similar geometry on the seal. This idea was brought up by one of the moderators over on our water cooling, and let's see if we can make it happen with the next iteration. I also had an idea for trying to remove the excess flashing. I'm printing the mold and the shims out of TPU, which is a flexible 3D printed filament. I'm hoping they'll form a better seal against the acrylic and reduce the amount of silicone that escapes out the sides. An important step I haven't mentioned yet, I'm mixing a 2-part silicone and then placing it in a vacuum chamber before I use it. This helps degas the mixture and pull most of the bubbles out of it. The best part about a project like this is watching the design slowly improve with each iterative step. I just focus on solving one hands-on problem at a time, and it all accumulates into something much larger. This is my favorite way to learn as well, and it's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant uses visual, interactive problem solving and personalized practice to help you excel at math and computer science. You learn through active problem solving, a method that research has shown to be far more powerful than watching lectures or videos. It has the perfect mix of interactive problems, motivating challenges, and encouragement to keep you moving forward. You'll build genuine understanding and reach serious learning goals. And it's all personalized to you. It starts you at the right level based on your background and helps you advance at your ideal pace. Brilliant is crafted by an award-winning team of teachers, researchers, and professionals from MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Caltech, Google, and more. I've really enjoyed the science courses, which can help you think more like an engineer, building your scientific intuition with lessons in physics, electricity, digital circuits, and more. You don't just memorize formulas. You get hands-on with concepts until they make sense. This helps you develop the problem-solving skills to figure things out on your own. To learn for free on Brilliant, go to brilliant.org/visualthinker, scan the QR code on screen, or click on the link in the description. Brilliant's also given our viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant. Now let's get back to the project. There is way less flashing with the TPU, but there's a new problem instead. The TPU inhibits the silicone from curing fully, so there's a lot of excess goo that needs to be wiped off. But I'm really happy with how the all-acrylic design looks. I've learned as much as I can from these smaller tests, so let's step up to something larger. I want to see how much harder it gets to make a longer seal. So this next assembly is going to challenge that. I've also bought a smooth plate from my 3D printer, so the mold should seal better against the acrylic. Previously, I was using a textured plate, and I think this may have contributed to more flashing. Just like before, I'm tapping the base plate for M4 screws, and I'm countersinking the top plate. Gravity feeding the silicone worked just fine on the smaller tests, but I quickly learned this was going to be a no-go for anything larger. It's not spreading through the mold fast enough, and it's going to begin curing before it reaches the vent. I had the vacuum pump sitting next to this, so I figured I'd try to pull the silicone to the vent, but but that just pulled in a ton of air bubbles from the sides. I put the mold on an angle to see if I could get the air to rise up to the vent, but it was just too much to clear out. And when I started to open the mold up, I had a big mess. The issue of the TPU preventing the silicone from curing, it turns out that makes a much larger mess when you scale up the parts, and there is a ton of uncured silicone in here. It's going to take a lot of time to clean these acrylic plates. So I'm going to switch back to PLA instead of TPU. I'll have some flashing to clean up with the X-Acto blade, but that seems much easier than dealing with this mess. I also have to figure out how I'm going to get the silicone into its mold without introducing any bubbles. My wife gets the credit for this next idea. We're going to try injecting the silicone into the form. You'll notice we went back to the 3D printed channel for this first attempt, but now that it came out so well, I want to go back to the all-acrylic design. I do really like how the 3D printed channel has the feature that retains the seal in place. It makes the final assembly a lot easier since the seal can't slip out of position, so I'm going to find a way to incorporate that into the acrylic channel. And my solution is some small holes along the perimeter of the seal. The silicone will flow through these, and once it's fully cured, the seal will be captured in place. It always feels like you're making a huge mess with silicone, but if you can just hold off for a few hours, it's going to be much easier to clean up and a lot more satisfying. I finally learned at this point to try and cut out all the flashing while it's still in the mold. Switching to the smooth print plate has also made this a lot easier to deal with. I'm sticking with the full acrylic look for the rest of the build, but I can also see a use for the 3D printed channel in future designs. I'm going to keep that one in the back of my mind. But I'm really happy with this design, and I finally feel ready to take all of these lessons into an operational prototype. This is going to be a full-size distro plate, and since I'm going to be using a laser cutter, I may as well take this opportunity to add some engraving to my design. The inside mold was going to be too large for a single print, so I have two pieces that are just going to snap together. For each channel, I have a single injection point, along with a bunch of chimneys that will hopefully create a path for the air to escape. And I'm using some butyl tape to try and seal up around these pass-throughs. The injection method started out pretty promising, but the main reservoir part for the distro was just too large, and I couldn't get the silicone to travel around the full perimeter, so I had to cheat and inject some silicone in on the opposite side. If the mold was perfectly sealed, this would have trapped a lot of air between the two injections, but I'm kind of lucky that it's leaking so much around the sides. This creates another place for the air bubbles to escape without having to reach a chimney. Now I can tap the 1/4" G-holes that will be used for the plugs and the tube fittings. And then I can assemble the finished distro. In order to test the assembly, I'm going to make some mini distros just to connect the ports, and I'm going to label each of these with the eventual components these would actually be supplying. I'm using a spare power supply left over from my old computer to temporarily run the pump for this assembly. And I've had it hooked up and running non-stop for a full week at the time of editing this video, and we still haven't developed any leaks. I'd like to keep iterating on this idea, and my eventual plan is to build my own case using a similar method. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching this design develop, and I'm really excited to see where it goes next. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.